Hey everybody, David R. Becker here with BeckerArt. Sorry, I'm about a couple seconds late. I just realized my cover wasn't the right cover for this. Anyways, we're here to do our three color today. Today's a three color day, and it's also late because I'm trying to decide what colors to use. I have no idea what colors I want to use. I used these colors I'm going to show you in a second this afternoon, but I want to change it up, but I have no idea what other colors I want to use. So I was like thinking. I look at it like, oh my God, it's like almost time. Well, today we're gonna have a cocktail, Malibu cocktail peach rum punch, because I'm going to Florida tomorrow. I'm driving to Florida tomorrow, so this is just perfect for. Well, actually, I don't want to drink this while I'm going down there, but and I also got some crushed ice, and so this time I got a little crushed ice, and so we're gonna see what the rum punch tastes like. Malibu cocktail rum punch. We should have some some tropical music playing, shouldn't we? Cheers, everybody. Rum punch. Oh my God, that's good. I should be definitely on a beach right now. This is definitely for a beach or on a cruise. I should be on a cruise. So I'm gonna give that a 10. Give it a 10. It's not 11 because 11 has to be something that's really, really outstanding. All right. So thanks guys for dropping by, and let me show you first off my website. For anybody who's new here, go to my website if you wanna see what's happening, where I'm going, what I'm doing. This is where you go. And as you can see, I am heading the workshops and classes. I'm heading down to the villages, and then I'll go to Villano Beach, and I still have openings in Villano Beach. If anybody on the 29th, 30th, and 31st, I'm doing a watercolor gouache class, watercolor and gouache, and so you find all that stuff out here right on my website. And for anybody who's close by here in my area, I have two classes, one in Libertyville, one in McHenry, but I'm adding, when I get back from Florida, I am adding one in Lake Zurich at the Main Street Gallery, Green Street Arts Center, in Lake Zurich. And so that'll be coming up in February the 7th. It's a Wednesday morning, and I had nothing to do on Wednesday mornings, and so I thought, yes, I'll do that. So anyways, that's where you get all your information, is right there. Supplies today are, of course, whatever. I'm always using my Holbein watercolors, my BeckerArt brushes, which you buy here on my site. I'm not using any masking fluid today, but I am using the Stonehenge paper like always. Let's go right to our value study. And today, our value study and our thumbnail, which I'm not going to do a thumbnail right in front of you this time, because this one was what, and a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, this was the thumbnail thing I did in my newsletter, right? So I decided to paint this scene that I put in my newsletter. And so all the way here on the right is the Notan. This would be like the thumbnail. Remember we did thumbnails. And so I still want you to do the thumbnails because let's look at this. This would be more of a value study. These are the values where the lights, mediums, and darks. This is the Notan design of it. Again, that's the black and white of it. So this is black and white. And so as you can see, this whole corner over here is pretty darker. And I can make it a little bit darker. I kind of like this design of the black and white. And of course, this is really nice too. I'm getting rid of this part right here. This light shining through here. This little bit of, I'm not sure how that was made, or if the photographer did that in Photoshop, or if that's the way it was when the photographers did the shot. But I don't actually kind of like that. It's like gives me two spots that are really bright. It's almost like two optical scatters, and so I don't really want that. I want to go in and do more where the center of interest, where's my pointer? I want to do the center of interest right here. This is the center of interest right in there. And so the three colors, and I'm going to show you what I did this afternoon, I'm not going to really be that much different. I think I'll maybe do a warm background, cool foreground, which is kind of what I did this afternoon, but not really. So I'm going to try to push it a little bit more to something. And so you're going to have to help me figure out what colors I want to use, because I have no idea what color I want to use this time. And let me just take it to the tabletop and show you what I'm talking about. So here's what I did this afternoon. And the colors that I used were bright violet. I used this orange, the yellow orange, permanent yellow orange, and I used this turquoise, composed green, I think is what it's called, or composed blue is what I think it's called. So this, and this purple, and you can tell I used the bright violet up here and in here, and this was of course the orange and the orange yellow. And so I really didn't use much blue. I used the blue to change the green, change the yellowish orange into green for my trees. So there's not a really big blue presence in it. I was thinking maybe I want to do a little bit more of that. Maybe this time we're going to do a little bit more blue. Again, you choose whatever 3 colors you want. And you don't have to use it so that every single color is in there. Like I said, the blue made my green. I don't really have blue per se in this scene. But I used it to make my green, my dark green up here. And so, you know, you don't have to, just because you're using 3 colors doesn't mean you have to use it really, everyone really super bright. You still want to make the whole painting look, color scheme look good together. And so if I would have added a blue to this, I think that would be too rainbowy. It would be like, really, this is a really bright scene. And if you look at the photograph, I kind of painted like the photograph and I made it a lot like that. But this time I want to make it a little bit differently. So I'm gonna try those. Let me see what colors. I still haven't chose. That's the comment. I was a little late today. I was actually in my mind just thinking. I'm like this. I'm going, what colors I use today? So let me think. I definitely want to use a blue. And let's make because this doesn't always have to be the optical scatter doesn't always have to be the orange. You know, the orange, yellow, red thing. You can also, because this basically is all yellow, orange, golds. You can use Crankdom Gold. I'm going to use Scarlet Lake. I'm going to use a red. Let's see. We'll use a red and the blue. Let's use, let me think. Ultramarine, maybe? That'll give me a purple, but then, let's use this, the turquoise. This is composed green, I think. Or what color is that? Anyways, I don't know. Let's see who's all here. I didn't actually check to see who's all here today. Hey, Pat, Jean, Kathy, Tina, Arlene, Sue, Barbara. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming and stopping by. Darcy, Linda, Mary Beth, Pamela. It's cold everywhere, and I'm going to have to try to get out of here. Hey, Dave. I'm going to try to get out of here tomorrow morning, and car's not all the way packed yet, but I've got like 3 workshops down there, and so car's not all the way packed, and there's supposed to be a snowstorm tonight, and so I'm probably not going to head towards Indiana because I got to go through Illinois probably because there's going to be a big thing, but I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of Illinois. I'm heading down to Florida. All right, so let's do the background. Oh, gosh. Oh boy. I still do like it yellow like that though. Okay, let's make it this blue right here. And I think that's composed blue. And so we're gonna wet everything to make a really light blue. We're gonna make a blue sky. What the heck? Let's just try to do it blue. You saw what I did here. That was with this one was with the, like I said, those 3 colors. And it's more of the yellows and golds. This one's gonna be more in the blues. Well, let's make this more and more blue. Because I want to show you that it doesn't, the colors, you know, the 3 colors that you use don't make anything different when it comes to the values. You can use whatever color you want and make the values the color values that you're using. Like I can make this whole scene in the pink. I can do it like in opera pink. And it would still, if I get those right values, it would still be looking great. So let's make it blue though, the sky. And that's my light, and so I'm going through everything because that's my light. That's my light area. Oh, darn it, I forgot to turn off the main lights. Hold on 1 second. Otherwise it's going to shine. I'll be right back in 1 second. There we go. That way I don't get to shine into the paper, which is just my can lights way up on top, and I always forget to turn them off. All right, so there's the blue. It's still going to be really bright right there. The light's still going to be there, but I'm going to turn it blue. And so really, the colors don't matter. But when you do put colors in and you're trying to get a color scheme like we're doing now for 3 colors, we don't want to make it so like rainbow-like of colors or saccharine. We still want to get the values. And if you do make it, it depends on what the scene is. Like not too long ago, in about 3 newsletters ago, there was an artist who did everything from Key West, and all her colors were like pure reds and yellows, and that's okay, and that's a certain style. So if you have that kind of style where everything is that color and that bright, then go ahead. So we're gonna make this. What color did I say? Oh, I was using this one. So I'm gonna make that my light, and so I'm just gonna put the ground back here. So my background's gonna be basically cool. My foreground will be warm. And for the foreground, since I'm using blue, I'm going to use an orange. And so let's use quinacridone gold. That'll give me a green. But if I do it separately in the front, no, that's not used. I'm just choosing as we go along here. Hey, Linda from snowy Tennessee. Hey. I'm going to be driving through Tennessee. Oh yeah, I'll be staying in Chattanooga probably tomorrow. I'll probably be in Chattanooga. I usually stop. That's about halfway for me to get to Florida, where I'm going. So usually I'm stopping in Chattanooga. So here's the blue. And, oh gosh. So if that's a blue background, what makes it... Let's go all the way to the front. Let's make it a purple. We'll go blue, purple, and there's my purple and my red. Or let's do a burnt orange. Let's do that. Let's take this red. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so it's this. It's my dark purple and that color and this blue. All right, let's see what we can get with that. I'm sorry, like I said, I was late because I couldn't choose what colors I wanted to use. So I'm gonna make it a little bit grayer. So since we did a whole thing on gray this afternoon, or this for my newsletter, this is my my lights, and so I'm just gonna put in my lights. I'm making a warm, cool background, warm foreground. This is light red. It's called light red with Holbein. It's kind of like a burnt orange. So I won't have any bright color. Like I don't have any bright warm colors. So that's going to stop it from having the really bright yellow because I don't have that color to use. But that's okay. We're going to try something different. I just want to show you that you can use any color you want, and with the 3 colors, and still make it look great, as long as you go with the right values. Now the people, my class had a little bit of problem with the people because these are people that you're going to put in not so detailed. They're going to be more, I call them David's dabs or Bob's blobs. They're like representation of people, but not, they're like just stick figures almost. A lot of people call them charismatic people. There's all kinds of names for them. So let's put a little blue in here. And while I'm doing my lights, I'm going to go right into my middle tones right away, because the light is just simple. That's the light. It goes right through here to the middle. And I want to keep this part right here. I'm going to keep that really light. So I'm going to block that out really quick. It's going to block that out because I can also make the street look wet if I want. But the people, remember what I said about the people. The people are just gestures of people. They're not so vibrant, or they're not so detailed as, like, you can see the guy's hand or even his arm sometimes. It's a blob of figures, and it just has to be put together. I think that's the biggest problem we had this afternoon, is that people had problems because if you look at the picture, you don't really see well how they're positioned and stuff. So, all right, so there's the light going right down here. I'm gonna make it so that's going right down the street here. So there's my lights. My lights are done. Let's go to our middle tones. So my middle tones are going to be this blue, and I said, what did I say again? Blue, this purple, and that red. So take a little bit of blue and purple, and then this is like a middle tone blue back here. This is the background buildings back there. It's going to be like the buildings behind this arch. I can go right through the people in the arch because they're all going to be darker, right? So I can go right through here. I'm not doing this really bright thing right here that the photographer took. There's a big orange spot here. I'm not doing that. I'm just making these buildings in the background. I'll go right through the arch, and then over here there's a little bit of stuff back here, foliage. If I need to outline, like have a rim lighting for the people, I could do that later with white, or don't worry about it. I'm just going right through the middle here. This is my middle tone. I'm going with my middle tone right now while it's still wet. I could put in my darks a little bit darker in here for shadow, keep them soft, but I'm going to wait until later. This is my middle tone, step 2. And again, if you want to ask questions, go ahead. I look up every once in a while. And so there's my middle tone. Step 2 is my large mediums, large darks. This is still kind of light here, but I can make it, oops, wrong color, wrong blue. This blue right here, this purple. Let's get in there. And I really can't make a green, so there will be no green trees. It will be the color that this whole sky is engulfing, a lot of that. So it's going to be a lot of bluish. It'll be kind of, I'm using this red, and so this red and the blue, what do they make? Let's see. They'll make kind of like a green, well, a brown. They'll make a brown. So that's what it's going to be. My leaves are going to be kind of brownish, so it'll look more fall-like. And I can go right in there right now, because I'm trying to think, okay. I got my big medium background way in the distance, so I'm coming my way forward. I can't do the building yet because I want that hard-edged. I want that to be really hard-edged. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but there are people up there on top of the arch. And so I can guess we can maybe go into here and see what happens with the trees. Let's go into trees here. And this is my large dark area. I should be doing it after I do the thing, but I can't wait for it to dry, so... Let's make this kind of the blue. Is it back there? Purple maybe? Purple in this color? How would that do? Let me wipe this off right here real quick. That was not my color because there's no yellow in this, so I'm getting rid of that. Ooh, 93 in Mexico. Oh, Jane, you're making us really lick our chops. We'd love to go. Oh, I got to drink some more Malibu. Cheers, everybody. Oh, that should be on a beach with an umbrella, a little umbrella and a drink in there. A little umbrella in the glass. All right, so let's keep on going here. Let's make a little bit more this bluish red tree. Really, I should be doing that first, though, because I'm going to go over that. Oh, well. Nothing I can do. It's not dry enough to make it hard edge, so I got to go in there later. Because, you know, when you're picking certain colors, the color scheme still has to work. Like, you don't want to just use 3 colors and separate them all. It just all works together. So it's kind of like doing one color study, but so like I'm still doing wet in the wet here, and I'm going to make it look like the outer edge of the leaves. And so you can use all the 3 colors together too. The reason I think you guys have done so well these last 2 times because you are just working more about the values than you are about the color, and you're a 2 color and a 1 color, the harmony is definitely going to be there because it's the only colors you're using. So when you start getting too many choices of color, I think most people put way too many colors in their work because then it's not realistic. Because when you're outside plein air painting, it's not really that colorful out there unless you're in a place where it is really colorful, where the buildings, Murano, Italy, all the buildings are different colors, but on average, most places are pretty gray. So us watercolors tend to use way more color than is really out there, which is fine too, which is really totally fine. But this, I think, 3 color study is kind of a good thing to think about how you can just bring these all together. These have to work together, these 3 colors. And also, I really want you to think about the values because that's really what it is about, the values. And so the arch back here will be more blue because the sky's blue and it's engulfing it. And as I come forward, the foreground, these trees are more farther forward. This is farther forward. People are farther forward. They'll be warmer, and that will have some of that red and purple in them. So that's how I'm thinking about it. That's how I'm trying to use those 3 colors together. Put some red in there. And you notice this is all wet in the wet then. I can get texture and show some parts through it. And like I said, I should have done this part first here. And let me just get this part of the tree, and I will go back in there. And keep this part a little bit lighter because that's going to be... Now this part is going to be still have that optical scatter, but it's not going to be yellow because I don't have yellow. So we have to think of what that color is going to be. And I'm going to say... Well, I try to build something maybe blue and purple, and gray. Like I still use black. I haven't used any black because my purple is pretty dark, so I don't have to use any. So let's go right. Let's do our optical scatter here, and I'm going to start by wetting it. I'm just going to wet it, and then what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do it with blue. I'll come with my blue that I'm going to have here, and just go around it. And I'd still make it a little bit light, darker here. I don't use the white right through there, because I don't know. I know the camera makes it look like there's nothing, part of the wall's missing, but I think if I'm out there, I want to see a little bit of the edge, but then you can keep this part really light, and as I'm going away from there, make it darker really quickly. I'll make it real dark real quick, and like I said, I'm going to make it push to the back, and I just have to look for the values. What color am I using? Not that blue, this blue. So I'm using this blue. I'm going to go right into this tree because I can make that darker later over it. Right now I want to make it bluish purple. Let's see. I want to stick it to the background. And if I want a gray, I can put a little bit of that red in there, the red in there too. So this blue, a little bit of that red, make it kind of a grayish color. And like I said with my newsletter this week, grays makes your color look more vibrant. Look, I can even go around this little lamp here I got there. I'm making it gray, grayish blue. And the light is lighting up right here. I want to make it gradual. I don't want to make it, just want to make it gradual, like the light is shining right there and it's almost blurring out. The optical scatter is almost blurring out that part of the building. This is a middle tone. It's not my darkest dark details yet. And you see how I'm going right over the people? The people will be darker than that. So I know it seems kind of strange that I'm doing the background thing, the object, blue, because it isn't blue, but I picked the blue because that's what the sky is, and it shows that it's not as warm a color, and it'll stand back. And it'll look more gray as I go along here. I'm putting some of this brown or this reddish color into that so that it will stay back. And basically the color of this archway is probably pretty gray. It's just a big cement gray, maybe tan cement. And so the sky determines a lot of times what that color will be for the whole picture. So then I go over here. I can put the trees are darker than this part here, so I can just do that. Up here, there's people standing up there. One of my students checked it out, but it's like $26 to go up there, I guess, or something like that. Or euros. To the archway. Let's do this side over here. See, I'm working back to front. I'm coming forward. And it doesn't look very pretty right now because, why? Because there's no detail in it. It's just my middle tones, my large middle tones. There's no detail darks yet. That'll come. This is my large mediums. And somebody was talking this week, and I saw in one of the, I think on my BeckerArt post, BeckerArt group, they were talking about how they didn't like their painting. They were about to throw it out. I forgot who it was now. But you know, it's like your paintings go through what they call the uglies. Like right now, it doesn't look very good, right? I mean, it's just a bunch of stuff all over the place. It doesn't look very good. There's not much detail. There's nothing to show what things are. So it goes through its uglies. My teacher always said that. You have to go through the uglies first. And then all of a sudden, start getting more and more details. And now I'm going to put this shadow in here right away, too. I'm just going to go in here. And the shadow in the front will be a little bit more of this red. And as I go towards the building in the back, now it's going to make this kind of like a little triangle there. Bring this right in here. It's a big area, right? It's a big area of mediums and darks. I can make this a little bit darker here too. Oops, this is the blue. This is blue. Maybe this makes it a little bit grayer. And maybe a little darker right here. This is going to be the leaves on the tree. Here we have a little bit of a shadow Put that in right away. Here's a person's shadow right away too. Might as well put it in right away. What the heck? All things go together. I try to make it all come together as one big wash of value. I'm looking to see if anybody has any questions. Do you ever use rough paper? I don't use rough. I used to use Arches rough a lot, but Stonehenge doesn't make a rough, so this is about as rough as I had to go. I know there's a couple rough papers out there that are really rough, and I find those are good for certain really rough where you need a lot of texture. I use those for them, but I really don't use like the rough papers that much. All right, so let's get this tree in here now. And now what did I use again? I used this red, a little bit more of the red and blue. It makes kind of a brown. And so we'll go up here and we'll just start doing the edges. Doing with my round brush this time, and I'm probably going to get a little bit more of a look of leaves. And once something's wet, I always dab into the wetness then with different colors. So I'll go in here, pick up some pure color of this blue. I keep on almost wanting to reach in, because I thought I was going to use ultramarine. I keep on wanting to reach into there, but that's not the blue I'm using. Sometimes I feel like using 3 colors or limited palette is so good for you, because really it makes you, again, think more about the values than it does what color you're actually going to use to harmonize. It's going to harmonize no matter what, because that's the only colors I have to use. And so here I'm putting that same thing down here. Might as well put it in while it's wet underneath here for some of the leaves. I jump back and forth a lot when it comes to stuff like this. I'm not sure why. I probably shouldn't do that. But sometimes when I see I have a color in my brush, I need to put somewhere else on other parts of the paper. And also this should be down here blue like this. So this is optical scatter with blue instead of optical scatter with the yellow. So anything close to this area where the sun is will turn the brightest color that you have for that area. And that's blue right there, right? So that's what I'm going to do over here too. Use the same color blue, make it bright here. Even though the leaves are not blue, they're green probably, or if it's fall, they're a color. But right here, the sun is so bright, it's making it the color of that area. And usually it's a bright color. And here either is going to be bright blue or bright yellow or bright red, depending on what the sky color is and what's closest to the sun. And then right away it goes back to the darks. Up here it goes back to the darks because it's farther away. And down here it can go back into the dark. But right there where it's light, you want to keep that nice blue. So I'll just go in there and tap away with nice blue. Really light blue too. All right, and so there's that side. And it feels then like the light is just hitting right there. Isn't that great? Cheers, everybody. I really want to have a drink or an umbrella in there. It's definitely a drink to have on a beach. Join me in Villano Beach near St. Augustine. We should have some fun there. So let's see. Big mediums. Now let's do our medium over here. I think this part got here is really soft. It's way in the distance. I'm going to put another little layer there of blue, a little bit grayer, just to get that like another layer of something back there. And right away, I'm going to bring that right into the people, and then let's do my shadows right away. What the heck? Go right into our shadows here. And now we're going to use some pure red with this purple and red. Let's bring our shadows in there. Now the problem is we're going to have to wait for that to dry, and then by the time I get done, it's not going to be dry enough. I want to get over there to do the people. Okay, there. A little bit more purple in there. Any questions, guys? I love Arches rough. I just got 10 sheets of rough Fabriano from Cheap Joe's today. I usually order 40 inches by 10 yard roll of Arches rough, but it was out of stock. Oh, well, I didn't know they made their roll. But that's a long painting you can do. That'd be a nice big long painting. Yeah, I used to use rough because I used to do a lot of scenes that were very rough. But then I started liking, for some reason, I started liking to use Bristol board. I liked really slick, and I didn't like it going into the paper. I like it sitting on top. So that's how come I like Stonehenge a lot, because a lot of the stuff sits on top and I can rub out really easily. So now what I'm going to do is, this is a little bit too light for me. I want to remember my value study, my thumbnail was that this part is really darker. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to re-wet it, and I'm going to make this a little bit rougher. So I'm re-wetting this area, and I'm just going to go in there and just kind of make it rough and make it kind of messy too. You know, I want it to be like a neat watercolor wash, so it's not so perfect. I want this to be a little messy, like the street. I did put in the lines for the tiles or the street itself, the cobblestone, if it was cobblestone, but just something to make it nice and rough over here, and a little bit darker too. I want the darkness down here, and I also want a warmer, so I'm using the purple and the red, and I'm going to leave some parts alone. This part over here, I want to still have that going down there. I want that nice and light still. Marsha liked the about the sunlight blue on the left. Yeah, you have to make the sun, anywhere the sun is hitting, you got to make that bright. Bright, or bright colors, or lighter, you know, because it's lighter. And as it comes forward here, and there's going to be a light sitting right down through here, so I can rub that out. You can rub that out so that the sun is beaming. I mean, this whole thing is lit up by the sun. And the sun is right there. And so that means it's going to reflect into these things. You know, that's how come you get optical scatter right here. You can see it cut out part of the building. And it's still, the building looks pretty rough and stuff because I haven't any detail there yet. This is my middle tones. These are my middle tones. I'll get to my big darks in a little bit. And this I can make a little bit rougher again here. I can bring this dark. And spatter a little bit. You know me and spattering. I love to spatter. So spatter a little bit across the side. I'm hitting it over here and hitting it against my finger like this, and it pushes it, it shoots it across. And so I move it up a little bit. Here we go. And if it gets up here a little bit, that's okay too. But it gives it some of that color all through there. You know, you get a little bit of the blue in there. And that's where you can take your grays from your paper. You know, this is what's making gray now. And people are saying that's always mud. That's not mud. That's not mud. I like grays, and grays are good. And so you just go in there. Look at that. Looks really muddy, but it's just a gray in there, and it'll look great. It will look great. It's the way to make mud again is like if you go in there, I let that dry, I go back in, and that's what makes mud because it doesn't look fresh. Then it looks like mud because it's not fresh. This is a fresh gray. It's just sitting on there. It's going to bleed out really beautifully. And it's going to make my light colors, because I don't have many bright colors, they'll make them look brighter. And now I may have to use my hairdryer to force dry because I don't think there's anything left to do for my big areas of mediums. And I'm going to my detailed darks now. And there's some larger darks, and that's the detail though. The people, the tree trunks and stuff. And I can actually do that. Let's just go right into there. So let's go, and I'm kind of into my detail stage now. And this part is still dry. Oh, see, it's all wet. Everything is wet. That's wet. That's wet. Always check with the back of your hand. Don't check with your unless you're wearing gloves. I forgot to put one on this hand. But if you're wearing gloves, then it doesn't matter. But if you're wearing, don't put your greasy fingers and touch, because that has oil on it. And so oil and water don't mix. Hey, Marianne. You struggle with spattering. Spattering is just splashing all around. And so if you don't want something in certain areas, definitely cover it up. You know, that's one thing you gotta, but sometimes you have to cover up with maybe a little shield that goes over it, but not touching your paper, because if everything's wet, like I wouldn't want to put something over this right now because then it'll affect that. So a little shield over the head would be great so that it won't affect it. But look, a lot of this spattering went away because it's so wet. So there's little hits of the blue that I put in there. And so when it gets a little bit drier, you can do that also when it's a little bit drier, so they'll kind of they'll have little dots on there too. So it all depends on when you're spattering, and yeah, it is a little bit different sometimes depending on how you're doing it. And so now let's get a little bit of purple and this red to make a brown. I'm just going to go in here now real quickly and get my tree trunks, get my tree branches, trunks. There's even a little light or some kind of pole here too, probably a light pole. This is wet, but I'm just making it really thick. I'm using that purple, my dark purple, and this red here, this light red, like burnt orange. It'll make it a really nice dark dark brown almost. And then the tree goes all the way down, and I notice this goes kind of straight across. There's a street back there, so that's kind of straight across. And you notice I'm not putting in people. See how that's a soft edge because it's still wet, and so I'm getting a soft edge there, which is fine too. What the heck? It doesn't really matter if it's the background. It's not the center of interest, so it really doesn't matter. Put some tree branches in. Nice tree branches. You can put them up here too, branches. I still have to do some darks in there yet too. But for now, we're just going to get in here, get some of the small things while it's still wet, or while it's wet. Trying to get hard edges, but they're not working yet. This little pole right here, there's a light pole that goes down to a sign. I'll put that in there right away. A little sign in there. I know it's detailed, but this is my dark details, and they're my smaller dark details, but you can still put them in at the same time. This archway back here, I'm going to use the same blue. I'm not going to start switching to a warm color there, because I shouldn't, because it has to look like it's far back. I will give it a dark, hard edge to it, but so I'm going in there with my grays. And how do I get my grays with these three colors? Mix them all together. Look at this. If I mix them all together, it's a nice dark gray. If I want to keep it more towards the blue, just use more of the blue in that mix. On my picture, I got to see what's in the picture here, so. A little bit more blue. That'll give it a little bit more purple. That'll make it a dark gray. Kind of go in there with just a little bit bigger brush. Oh boy, I didn't clean that brush out very well. Across. And there's some bas relief here. There's some relief in the sculpture kind of thing inside of the building. I can just real quickly kind of dabble there. You don't see it exactly what's happening there in this bas relief, but I'm just gonna fake it like a little bit there. It's probably got a little frame kind of thing. Here's a little bit of something there. I want to thank everybody for, thanking me for, or congratulating me to the AWS. That was a shocker. I really didn't think I was going to get in this year because I tried something a little bit different. And I usually think that you shouldn't do different when it comes to some of those shows. But I got in, and thank you to the judges. But super great, super fun knowing that I got in. This is my second time. This is the second year now, and so next year will be, if I get in, I'll have my letter, or you get your letters, your signature membership. So that would be, I got to really play hard next year. Got to work hard next year to get something good. And here now I'm putting a little bit of this, there's a little bit of a shift in the building. So you see, I'm just working the building. I'm still doing it all in the values that are back there. I'm not changing colors. I got to keep it back. Thanks, Chad. And I think there are like these little circles here. Little circles. So I'll make little circles. Still wet, but you can be a little bit looser with it. It doesn't have to be so tight. At this point, it doesn't have to be super, super tight. Here you can take a thirsty brush, do another little line there. And all these people in some here, they're going to be all darker. So here, look at that little, I made a little bit of a mess here because I'll just push that back together. There's also the lines go over here too. So cross over, kind of go over here. And there's also a bas relief on this side. Not as important, so I'm not going to spend much time there. I'm just going to dab a little bit here and there. This tree will have to do for now, and it's all coming together. But we'll make it a little bit darker for the shadowing. All right, let's go over here now, and let's get our people going. And see how light this got? You know, it was so dark when I started. Now look how light it is. But you still get the light feel that everything is, the values of this may be not black like my thumbnail, but it is the pattern is still there. The light is through here in my street. Now this part got a little bit hard edged, and so I'm just gonna put some fresh water here, get rid of that hard edge a little bit because I don't think I need that hard edge right there. All right, so let's get to the people now. And with the people, I call these Bob's blobs and or David's dabs, and they're basically, I blob the head on them. I put a little bit of like a little dark right here for the head, and I do a little collar, and then I do the body. And I don't really pick a color. I just pick whatever I have here, and then once it's wet, then I throw other colors in there. And you notice how I'm doing both together. I don't separate each person. I'm just going along and trying to make that all big wash of a person. And I'm going to try to make this later. I'm going to try to put the most color in there. Because what color am I using again? Oh, this color. This red. I will put that there mostly because I want, this is part of my center of interest. This area right here, this whole area is my center of interest. Not a thing. It's an area. We'll do some nice blue jeans, so purple and blue, and I'll just go in here with blue and purple. Not 3 years straight, I don't think. You don't have to get it in 3 years straight. You just got to get it in 3 years. And so I think within a certain amount of time, like maybe 10 years or something, I think. But most of the time, like next year, if it's your third time, you're allowed to put in 2 pieces instead of 1. So most people get in after the second time, because the third time you're allowed 2 pieces. And so you get a little bit more of an advantage. So I think they want you to really get your signature membership if you're getting twice. And I actually counted that this year they had 29 new signature members. So that means last year 29 people were eligible, or maybe even more, to get their signature membership. So this year 29 people got their signature membership. So you can tell that they try to make it so that you can have a little bit more of a shot to get in, because they want people that get their signature membership. So they give you a little bit nicer chance so that you can get it. But I don't think it's 3 years in a row. I just think it's 3 years. Now, TWSA, Transparent Welcome Society. Now that one I've gotten into 10 times, and or 9 times, and I've been trying to get in the last 2 years, and I have not been able to get in my last 2 years, because when you get in 10 times, then you get a master status. So I can get my master status, but I've not been able to do it. It's been like 2 years in a row now. I have not been able to get in, and I thought I did some really good stuff, but they're very hard, and you never know. You just don't know. It's, the judge's decision. It's not just one judge either. There's like 2 or 3 judges, depending on which thing you're submitting to. With TWSA, it's 2 judges, and so they gotta like your stuff. And now see how I'm just putting these all. This is a whole patch of dark. You notice how I'm not doing like one person, another person, and kind of like making them separate. No, I put them all in the same wash so that they have a feel of just being in this area, and just kind of washing it off. I don't want them like photographic. I don't want them. They're moving, and they shouldn't be so tight. I'm not sure if you understand it. So I'm just letting them bleed off, because it's not important that you make them look exactly. The outer edge, yes, has to look a little bit like a person. And of course, have the shoulders and head, and maybe the arms hanging here. Depending on what they're doing. But when it comes to, I noticed people were taking the picture, getting really trying to figure out what is there, but you don't really have to figure out what's there. You need to have the legs, the arms, and stuff. But I kind of mush it together, and that's called where a lot of people call them like Karasik people, and I call them Bob's blobs or David's dabs people. And basically, what you're doing is you're just getting the feel of people there, but you can't really tell what they're doing, and it's more of a gesture of a person. And so that's what is happening, is I'm doing more of a gesture. And then look at right where the ground comes, I'm just making a shadow from them and just putting it back so that, this guy looks like he's got a hook for that one sport where you rip the ball. But, you're you're not paying really close attention to making, unless you paint that way, unless you paint picture perfect where you drew in every part of that, but still then make sure you get the right values for this area. Now, the people can be a certain value, and they have to be a certain value, but that whole area has to be that value. So don't mess with the values. Those have to be there. You can put the people as detailed as you want, but worry about the values that you're following. You're following a value pattern and a value study, a thumbnail sketch. That's what you're following. I'm following. That's the darkest dark. Lightest light is right there. Let's put this little lamp in here. And this lamp, what color should this lamp be? I just made a mistake. Yep. What did I do? I just take my towel, go over that. So and this thing has to be blue, remember? Because it's in the area where the sun is right there. So I'm going to take the blue I'm using. Bright, bright blue this has to be because the sun is so powerful. It's changing the color and the values and making it a little bit lighter and making it really bright color blue. It would be the bright yellow if it was the warm, but it has to be like the sun is really engulfing that. And as it goes down, it can go dark. As it goes away from the sun, made it too thick. I should use my little dollar thing. My little scale. Where is it? I'm not sure where it's at right now. So this can be a little bit darker. As it goes down, you can make it really dark. Let me give it a little bit of, like, there we go. See? It gets darker, so when it gets up there by the light, it's going to be burned out almost. Now here there's a little car, a little darker car. I'll make that more blue because, again, that's more in the background. So I'm going to keep that to the blue. That's why I decided. I chose those cool colors to be the background. And so that car, even though this car is probably white, a white truck, but because it's engulfed with the sky color, you're going to make it the same color as back there. You're the artist. You don't have to make it the color exactly that you see in the photograph. You can make it these three colors that we're using. These are the three colors I'm using, and those are the colors I have to make it. And there's a light pole right here. Gonna make that nice and dark. There's a nice light. And there's some people right here. And detail, like I said, it's the time consuming. Because detail is detail. You have to work on it and make it look good. I mean, it has to look like whatever you're painting. When you get to that point, this has got to look like a car. That's got to look like a person. And if you're kind of faking the inside of that thing, then at least make sure that the outside of it looks like a car. And make sure that the people have the outline, not what's inside. It's what the outline that you see against the light. That's important. Then you make it look like the object that it is. But inside there, see how it's just a big, huge blob? And it looks like a car, right? Because the outer edge suggests that looks like a car. And then you can throw some shadow on here. People. And again, I'm going more with the blue because it's engulfing. The sky is engulfing that. Person. Legs. Put a person there. Now I'm just making things up. I don't have it drawn there or anything, but I can put people all around there. And this is a big area of dark. And it's really the trees bug me. I got to get in there right now because I can't look at this anymore. I got to put a little bit of purple and the blue. I got to put a little bit of foliage in there. A little bit of red. A little bit darker. Any questions? Yeah, the dollar store thing close by. I think it's here somewhere. A dollar store makes straight lines and it's really nice. Where the heck did I put it? Huh. That is weird. It was right there. I've been getting ready for my classes, so everything's all over the place, so I must have hit it somewhere. Or maybe I put it in my box that I'm going to take with. That could be it too. I could be taking it with. All right. Or I can stop at the dollar store down there. There's Dollar Trees everywhere and get another one. They're only $1.25. A little straight edge. Now here, there's people right here. Basically, I do the head and I do a little body, then I do little legs. And there's also things happening back here that I'm not sure what they are. This guy could have, you notice how I'm making him warm. As I come forward like this, I'm making more of this red. And then here, there's a little tire for a bike. Handlebar. Another person. This person maybe has more blue on. Maybe because he's on the side here. So we're just going to give him more blue. I still got to get this tree here to be a little bit darker because I kind of messed it up when I was doing it while it was wet. Put the branches in, a few more branches in there. Little dots here and there for leaves. Thanks, Lynn. All right, so that's looking pretty decent with this area here. You know what I didn't use yet is black. Isn't that funny? Because I'm not going to a number 10 black. I'm not going to a really dark. I will have to use a little bit of black, I think, just because right here, I have to make this a little bit darker than this part over here. So I was going to try not to use any black today because I used the dark purple, so that's how dark as I want to get. But over here, I want to make it a little bit darker, and I got kind of messy. And so I'm going to I'm using a little bit of black with the purple on this part just to make it a little bit darker and come forward. Here, you can mess this up a little bit. It doesn't have to be too much of anything. All right, so now let's get in here and get our shadows from the people. Again, the sun's right here, right? And it's pointing down. And these people right here, these two guys. Thanks, Tina, for having everybody hit the like button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, wait, that's not my red. This is my red. So I'm going to start out with the blue, really close to them, and I'm going to get warm as I go out. So here's the shadowing. And so there's the legs, there's this part. And then I'm going to just not make it too dark. I noticed this afternoon I made it too dark, and so I'm gonna make it more of a transparent wash, so you can see kind of through. And it's gonna get a little bit more towards the red as I go away from it. And so I'm going over the dark area, just make it a little bit more shadowed. So I'm just making it nice and transparent. And it's hard edged, but it's not really dark, so it'll have that look of brightness, like it's really bright there. And here's his head. This person's head is going to go in the front, and I'm not making it as dark as I did this. Like I said, this afternoon, what I did is I made this a little bit too dark, and I just let it wash down. And so I'm going to make it. Let's see how I made it a little bit more transparent. That way, it'll feel like you can see through, and you're seeing the color underneath it. And it's just a shadow of what's up above. And here, see, nice shadow, a little bit of red. This is the guy's head as it goes away, and then I can actually have it bleed into the sidewalk. Now here, this is a back bleed. This is bleeding back into it, and I don't like that. I mean, it makes a corner out of that. So what I got to do there is it wet and did something a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-wet that area. See, I'm just re-wetting it, going back over. Do I have enough time to re-wet this? Oh, 5 minutes. I want to show you how to do these little bricks here. So I'm going to re-wet it, but I'm going to not make it too wet because I still want to make bricks over here. The bricks of the ground. And so what I do is I do some of the lines. I do some of the lines first, and then I do some of the bricks after I do the lines. So I do the mortar in between these bricks. Now this part's wet, so I can't do that, unfortunately. So I'm just going in there with lines, doing the lines of the brickwork. And then you have to get perspective right, get the perspective heading back to one point. like here, and you can actually do individual bricks too. Here you can go like, make little rectangular shapes. This should be dry too because you want to go over that, but it's wet, so and I don't have time to figure that. So you wait a little bit and then come back and just make these little lines. And then I take my rectangular brush, my flat brush, and go in there and actually color some of these bricks. See, it's not going into there, which it will once it's dry. I'll do some of those when it's dry. But we'll be gone from here in a second. I think we got 4 minutes. We got 4 minutes left here. Let's see, I just put the lines in. Put a few rectangle shapes in there. And as I go back, I'm just making straight lines across. Because they're so far and they're so small that you really don't see those that far away. And now we're going to take our flat brush. We can take either the 1/4 inch or the 1/2 inch brush. And then what I'm going to do is take that red and make it really watery. I'm just going to go over and actually paint some of the bricks. Just go in there and do random bricks on the street. I usually leave the top a little bit lighter because the top's hitting that brick on the top. And you don't have to do all of them, just some of them. And when this is dry later, I may go in there and do some darker ones. But again, the video will be over by then. And you just see it. Next time you see the painting, we'll have little bricks in there. But you get the picture. Now it's all details. It's just getting the little things in there. I like to go through into the shadow, put some of the bricks into the shadow. And here I'm just dabbing, because up there, they're so small that I'm just dabbing little bricks into the street. You can also do not shadows, but you can do reflections. So what I'll do is see these tree branches. I put reflections into the street, and it means that a lot of times these streets are concrete and they're kind of glassy, very shiny. So you can actually make them look wet or really shiny by putting a little reflection of what's over here into the street. So that's what happens with cement because it's made of sand, and sand is glass basically. And so you can see they get shiny because people walking on them. So you can do little reflections. Not shadows, they're reflections into the street. And this is what happens when it's wet, but they're not wet, the street, but it's shiny. Shiny is like wet. And so if you ever want to make something look shiny or make it look wet, that's what you do. Either they're both the same. Shiny and wet are the same thing, basically. All right. I think that's about it, guys. Go in here, get a little bit more detail. So again, three color guys. Any 3 colors you want. Worry about the values. Look at how the values are. I don't have a really super dark in here. Let me do this here because the light is right there, but these are in front, away from the light. Little branches here. All right. I think that's it. Probably, like I said, this is still wet. I will put a couple of those little dashes in there, but that's it. And also, you can put your name right here, too. I would put my name right there to get your eye to go back up and in there. So I used, again, my 3 colors were permanent violet, light red, which is orangey, burnt orange, like a burnt orange. And this composed blue. Like bricks in foreground. Thanks, Marcia. Tina, be careful driving south. Yeah, thanks. I hear it's going to be snowing tonight, so I'm just hoping it's not too bad in the morning. I don't have to leave right away in the morning, so I have to still pack up. But there you go, guys. So here was this afternoon's. And here's this evening's. Both about, this one got a little bit crazy with the purple down there, but, hey, I probably should go over there and tone it down a little bit. That's a little bit bright. It's a little bit better, right? Isn't it a little bit better? So more of a tint, not so much of a wash. That's a wash. This is a tint. Thanks, Arlene. And so if I see you in Florida, or if you're in Florida, come by and say hi. Take the workshop. And I will still be doing next Thursday. I will still be doing it down from Florida. And this Sunday, I will be in Florida. So I'm probably going to do my Sunday morning with David. It's going to be plein air, probably, because I'm going to be outside somewhere where it's hopefully warm. And if it's not, I'll be doing it inside the hotel. All right? So until next Thursday, we'll see you then, guys. Any last questions?